Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. If you want to take a break from news on the tariff situation and the global trade war that is upon us right now, why don't you listen to me a little bit and I tell you about the ongoing coalition talks in Germany and how Germany is imposing on itself right now a Versailles Treaty 2.0 without losing a war. Or maybe it is because we lost the last war, I don't know. But what the Chancellor-to-be, Friedrich Merz, decided with the votes of the Green Party, the Social Democrats, and his CDU-CSU parties in the old Bundestag, the change of the constitution that I talked about in my earlier video, will result in endless debt that generations to come will have to pay the interest on this debt that is now taken on by Germany. And I'm very sure that the coalition contract between the Social Democrats and the union parties under Friedrich Merz will decide nothing but a continuation of the Merkel and traffic light coalition path on steroids. But before I look into some of the details, I want to thank all my supporters. You guys are really great. And all the others, you can also share these videos and subscribe to my channel, of course. So I want to break this down into two parts, as I already mentioned. On the one hand side, there is this change of the constitution, and on the other side, there is the coalition talks right now. So let's start with the change of the constitution. I mean, I introduced it in my last video, but what it basically is, they claim that now they need a lot of money all of a sudden in order to spend it on security, so on the military basically, and also on infrastructure. Now, I don't disagree there. The thing is just, why do they have to go into debt in order to fund these things? The German state has record tax income right now, and that should be more than enough to pay for all of that. So the important thing here, in my opinion, is the things that they don't talk about, as is usually the case. And they talk a lot about things that normal German taxpayers would agree with, namely that we need to spend more money on our military, that our infrastructure needs an update. Yeah, we all agree on that. However, why go into debt? What people don't agree on, though, and the polls show this really clearly, is all these irregular travelers, our dear guests that are here on full welfare. And also spending money, yes, on military equipment, but not for our own army, but for our partners in the Middle East and in Eastern Europe. Many Germans don't agree with that, but they're not talking about this here. They're talking about our military and our infrastructure, which is a blatant lie in my opinion. This money will not go to our military. It will be given to people abroad, and it will not rebuild our infrastructure but other people's infrastructure. And also we only have to go into debt in order to fund some infrastructure projects, because all our tax money is used for, well, you know exactly what, for hosting millions of people that don't pay a cent into our system. And as they also needed, as I mentioned, the votes of the Green Party, they got what they wanted for a long time. And so there was a new rule that was put into the bill, and that is that Germany should be climate neutral until 2045. That means that we are not allowed to produce any net carbon dioxide. That technically means that people are not allowed to eat anymore, but well, that is in the details. But anyway, climate neutrality is now in our constitution, and that means that NGOs that are funded, or that used to be funded by US aid and that are now funded probably by the German taxpayer, they can attack any kind of factory project, any kind of business operating in Germany. And they can shut it down with the help of corrupt and ideological courts. And there is nothing that we can do about it because it's in the constitution now. So that just gives you an idea of how extreme and how insane this whole endeavor really is. But it is the constitution now, or the basic law, the Grundgesetz as we call it. Okay, coming to the next point, and these are the coalition talks. Now, of course, the Social Democrats and the CDU are under a lot of pressure right now because let's just say that things that are happening on the world stage require a German government. And from what I could hear from the media right now is that the Social Democrats apparently are unwilling to move very far away from the policies that they had in the old coalition together with the Green Party and the Liberal Party, which was basically more or less a continuation of what Merkel did. So once again, there is no change in general policy here, which is exactly what Mr. Merz went on the campaign trail with. He promised people an end of all this leftist ideology, and he is the new conservative guy, and no more debt and no more excessive spending. He wanted to close the borders, deport people that shouldn't be here, etc. The German people, the voters, will get none of that, which is exactly what I predicted. And I also think that Merz never wanted these things in the first place. And this is why he said he will only have coalition talks with the Green Party and the SPD, two parties that would never allow these policies in a new coalition. And he said that before the election. So everybody with two brain cells to rub together should have known what was about to come. But once again, nobody listens to the people that warned the electorate first. So what can we expect? The German federal states were, for example, allowed to go into debt, and I think 100 billion euros of this new debt packet was awarded to the German federal states. And Berlin, for example, has already announced that they will use this new debt for migrants, of course. Then there will be more fake climate measures. The NGO political complex will be funded with hundreds of millions of euros and maybe even billions this time. Then I said that infrastructure and security is what they want to put money into, and going into debt, of course, for that. But they already started to redefine what that actually means, because normal people would assume that you want to buy military equipment and increase the manpower in the military and build roads or do something for our power grids, etc. No. See, now they said that also, cybersecurity is important, and intelligence agencies will also be supported more. All that this is they want to prop up the surveillance state. They want to spy on German citizens, and they want to sniff out wrong thinkers, of course. They want to put people behind bars and create problems for people, persecute people who disagree with the government. You have heard stories about that. Maybe I make a dedicated video about that. Yes, in Germany, you go to jail if you post a meme about a minister in the federal government. You definitely can go to jail for a innocent meme, while people who do the most horrendous violent crime go free or on probation or whatever. This is the reality in Germany right now, but I digress. So to sum it up, what you will see is a continuation of what Merkel and Scholz did, but with a lot more money, with a lot more debt, with accelerated deindustrialization, and also with an insane increase in surveillance activity against German citizens, against the opposition first and foremost. But polling continued also after the election, and a lot of conservatives are really unsatisfied with the way that Merz is handling this, because they are so naive, these conservatives, that they really expected a policy change. So now a lot of them are switching over to the AfD. A couple of CDU politicians have already left the party. Some have demanded that there should be a referendum within the party about these coalition results, which the party leadership rejected. And also, Mr. Merz refuses to meet representatives of his own party's youth organization. And that is also a tale in and of itself. And if you look at the polls now, you see that the AfD is almost on the same level as the CDU. So you see the beautiful symmetry here around the 25% axis here of the black, the CDU, and the blue, the AfD lines here in the polling data. Yeah, that means the AfD is now just a little bit more than a month after the elections. The AfD is equally as strong as the CDU in the polls. They are definitely within the order of the uncertainty here, and maybe in 1 or 2 weeks they will even be above that, which is nice, but it's also sad at the same time, because once again I told you, these German voters, they just don't get it. And I told them that before the elections. They didn't listen, and now they want to vote for the AfD, and I'm sure in 4 years they have forgotten about it, or a new PSYOP will take place, and like we saw last time, and then the AfD will score lower again. But well, for the time being, this is historic at least, so it's a good thing, but it hasn't any tangible effect. But you know, you never know, maybe Mr. Merz will not stay chancellor for long. Maybe protests will come up and he will have to disband the parliament and call for new elections, something like that. And maybe then we have an AfD majority. Who knows? And we also don't know how Mr. Trump's trade war will affect all of that. Because the crazy thing is that Germany would deindustrialize on its own, even without any outside pressure. But now Trump's trade war and his tariffs are creating an outside pressure in addition to our Green Party communist ideological insanity. So Germany will deindustrialize even more, even faster. And that is something I didn't see coming, actually, because I thought we would destroy our economy all by ourselves, but now Mr. Trump helps a little bit. All right, let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Have a good day. Servus, Kameraden.